Hello guys, and welcome back to End All Wars with our Eastern Entente playthrough. I'm going to be blunt, up front. I've been recording this episode for 2 hours. I've had to restart 6 times, so... Last episode we had a very exciting turn, very eventful. We had the most losses on both sides, easily the deadliest turn we have seen of the entire campaign so far. It was really eventful, and we had some of our most decisive victories there, mainly in Serbia, but those victories also left Serbia a husk, a incohesive variant of itself where we may have some problems in soon to come because the manpower of Serbia cannot keep up with the manpower being thrown at it despite claiming some pretty good victories. Well, I hit end turn after preparing the next turn, going over my battle plans with you guys in the last episode, and, well, I can't show you the replay itself now because the game's just been fucking up on me, but I'm going to go over it with you nonetheless. So to start, we need to point out that we actually lost Pirot. The militia there surrendered, just straight up fucking surrendered, after a breach in the fortifications was made. The enemy gained 2 victory points, and we lost a national morale point because of this surrender. That's a shame. That's an instance where having militia somewhere could maybe come and bite you in the ass. Oh well. We've had much worse losses. Let's scroll down. We can see that a unit belonging to the Central Powers retreated from Memel after taking 8 hits. And here's the unit here. It retreated to Tarogen, and it is close enough to take part in any battles in neighboring areas, which it did. So scroll down even more, and we have our first battle of the turn. We have our battle at Memel. We lost 7,000 men. They lost 5,000 men. Both battle plans failed. It wasn't the best attack. We were assaulting to try to claim Memel, which we may have a victory of a battle here, but we did not actually claim Memel from this. We can see even at the end of the turn, Memel still belongs to the enemy, the city anyway, and they do still have some units there, albeit very weak. Scroll down a little more, and we have a battle for Stanislaus, where we had another militia unit. This one did not surrender necessarily, and we did not lose any national morale points, but the whole militia unit is dead, which I learned a militia unit is 10,000 men. The more you know. Anyway, scroll down even more. We had a giant battle at Belgrade where we lost 2,101 men, 24 cav, and 4 guns. The enemy lost 11,000 men, 130 cav, and 24 guns. We went with a forward machine gun emplacement like we went with last turn because that's what the Radomir Putnik decided to suggest we did. So we did it because his plans have worked very well so far. And the Germans or Austrians, I don't even know what these are at this point, but they went with a prepare to withdraw counter-march, so I don't know why they even attacked us, quite frankly. But they went with it, and it failed. Ours did not. We got a good result. Hell yeah. If I don't seem very enthusiastic, it's because I've already read these out loud like 6 times over the past 2 hours. Next, we had another battle at Memel. We actually gained a national morale point from this one. We lost 15,000 men in this fight, 980 cav, 6 guns, and a plane. The enemy lost 25,000 men, almost all their men. 260 cav, that's half their cav. 48 guns, that's half their guns. And they completely lost this land division, this infantry division. So that's great. They successfully did a defend escape route plan, but there are still units held up in Memel after this. This was the last battle of Memel for the turn. We went with a wave assault both times. This time it failed on round 3. And at the end of the day, our units here are running out of supplies. They could be doing better, but the defending units are just so insignificant, I've decided to proceed with the assault anyway. But scrolling down more, we had a battle at Pultusk down here. And down at Pultusk, they attacked us, and they lost 10,000 men, 32 cav, 6 guns, and they didn't kill a single unit, and this was all in 1 round. We had some pretty nice trench effectiveness helping us out here. So this was definitely a very good result for us over here. We didn't gain any national morale for it, though, unfortunately. And at Pultusk, I've gone on the offensive because I want to really chase the rest of these units out. Scroll down a little more, lots of recon missions, and we have our next battle at Lodz. We gained a national morale point for this as well. This one's pretty weird. We lost 2,500 men, but we killed, as you can see here, much higher numbers, and completely wiped out 2 entire, I think, artillery divisions. I don't even know how they got left here, but somehow they got left behind at Lodz, and then they attacked us. So they got slaughtered, which is another amazing result for us. And scroll down anymore? Nope, that's the last battle. Okay. Another thing that happened, which is bad for us, is that I promoted someone because I could. The game told me I could. The game did not prompt me like it usually does that this was a bad thing to do, that someone else higher in the rank wanted a promotion. Someone that wasn't even eligible for a promotion. The game did not tell me this. Usually it does. I've seen this in age-odd games before. But it didn't tell me, and as a result, I lost 69 victory points. That's over 1 turn's passive victory points for promoting someone. So the game really fucked me over there. Really sucks. Nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. We're fighting not just the AI, but we're also fighting the game, it seems. That's a shame. And the max entrenchment level has gone up on the Western Front. Still level 2 on our front, so that's all we really need to worry about. We lost Stanislaus, we lost Pirat, that's about it. And we had an event, Recognize Italian War Goals. Now this event is in the spring of 1915, except this is played in early June, so it's summer. The Triple Entente in Italy. London Pact was signed between the UK, France, Russia, and the Kingdom of Italy. Its intent was to gain the alliance of Italy against its former allies, including Germany, by promising large territorial claims on lands held by Austria-Hungary. Italy moves 20% towards the Entente, but all of Austria-Hungary gains a 25% alignment bonus, and the Centrals gains +5 national morale. I'm gonna be honest, I hate this. I hate that this was played, because Italy was just a few turns away from joining us. Well, the good news of this is that Italy is now going to join us next turn. They will be in the war 100% no matter what. Next turn, Italy will join, and that will open up a whole new front for the Austrians. They'll be able to go into France and Switzerland and hopefully make things a lot more difficult on the Western Front for the Central Powers than they are now, which we desperately need. Serbia is falling apart, surrounded on all sides. I think it's a matter of time before Serbia falls in on itself and collapses, and this whole front closes. So Russia will be, continuing its front, probably all by itself. Maybe within a year? I don't know. But I don't have too much hope for it, I can tell you that. So Italy joining will be nothing but good. Nothing but good. Now the bad part about this, however, is... well, okay, let me show you here first. Austria-Hungary is now 98% aligned to the Central Powers. They were like 70%, and the rebels had the rest. They were really fucked up. But this move to get Italy to join has really strengthened Austria's attachment to the Central Powers, and that really sucks. That really sucks for us, because we're the ones fighting the Central Powers, especially Austria, in bulk. Now, Italy will have to fight them too, but we're the ones that are going to suffer the most from this. So hopefully Italy can really get their shit going, really gear up once they join and make a big difference. Here's fucking hoping, because, oh man, they have a renewed spirit, a higher alignment to the war right now than Germany has. So that really sucks for us. I think the alignment of Serbia is not even going to matter in the long run. This alignment that we can't do anything about because the game developers gave them Western Entente alignment instead of Eastern Entente alignment for some stupid reason. I think they're going to fall over and die long before this becomes an issue. Russia's down to 93%. Now let's go to what else happened poorly this turn as a result. The Central Powers gained 5 national morale. They'd be at 81 if that didn't happen, which would have been a lot nicer, quite frankly. The Western Entente seems to have had some good battles, actually, because they're up to 87. Despite giving the Central Powers 86, the Western Entente is still ahead. That's really impressive. That's really, really impressive. And we're at 103. I don't know how we're at 103, quite frankly, but we are. Our losses are at about 540k. The Western Entente has now passed into over 1 million losses, and the Central Powers are at 1.9 million. So in terms of KDR, you know we're doing amazing. In terms of VP, we're winning despite the game trying to fuck me over here with my promotion hurting me. But I'm sure the AI are making these mistakes at least as well. I mean, at least I hope they are. Either way, combat power not really looking too great. Italy joining will be a huge boon. Up to 37,000 prisoners taken. Not that that really means anything. And I've done my whole turn here, quite frankly, so I could show you what happened. Over here in the Ottoman Empire, we are going on the offensive. We did successfully use chlorine gas against the units here. We can see their cohesion is really fucked up. So I'm moving my whole army here on the offensive. It'll probably take them like 8 days to get there, so half a turn really. And I don't think they'll be able to recover that much cohesion in that time. They do have some more forces over here, which may make this a really risky gamble. We're going to get over there and we're going to attack. I do believe these units haven't been there that long, so their entrenchment shouldn't be that good. But since we've used the chlorine gas, we're going on the offensive, and hopefully it will work. Hopefully. It could really go either which way. Like I said, we're going to continue going for Memel. I am retreating all my units at Velau to Kauno because their supplies are just withering away. So I'm going to try to get them over here. They'll take them 3 days to take the train. And hopefully they'll get there and they'll get resupplied. And the next turn we can get them back on the front and hopefully send them to attack somewhere. I'm thinking Lotsen. Maybe. Depends what this new German corps that's shown up plans on doing. Hopefully we take Memel. It can just kind of sit here because it has a harbor and a depot. So that can help us recover if we actually successfully take it. I'm going on the offensive at Poltusk, like I said, to chase this unit out. We're going to maintain the defensive over here in Western Poland. Just want to hold our own. We just want to hold our own. Especially with a gigantic Central Powers force, including a huge Austrian army coming towards Lodz. It's not looking good. So we just got to sit down, stay entrenched, hold our own, and hope for the best. I believe over here I am going on the offensive because the surrounding units don't seem to be as big of a deal anymore. And the troops that are here are basically completely out of supplies. They should be taking attrition hits at this point. And they shouldn't have many bullets with which to shoot me. They should be withering away. So we're going to try to attack them and chase them out of Poland so we can try to gain some ground over here. You can see this general, von Hindenburg I think his name is down here joining the Austrian front. It's so weird how fluidly the AI plays with their units. We did arrive at Rawa Ruska without a fight, and we've retaken most of the countryside. I'm going on the offensive over here too, which may or may not go well with many Austrians surrounding. Some looking really beefy, some not so much. So we're going on the offensive against a... Oh, should I actually do this? Alright, well, I didn't know how many troops had actually arrived here until I just looked at it. And there's an enormous force here. So I take back what I just said. We're just going to go on the defensive and stay entrenched in our level 2 entrenchments and hope everything goes well here at Rawa Ruska. I was going to go on the offensive to try to, do something, but I just realized how many forces they have here. This is a major army in itself that's right here. But they have another major army here. So I'm actually going to let them come to me, play defensive at Rawa Ruska. Meanwhile, the enemy's most effective tool over here in northeastern Austria, where they've really been able to kind of play around with us and keep up with us, is their railroad. I've kind of cut off their railroad by attacking here at Tarnopol. I don't really have what I would need to necessarily defend the area properly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these units, I'm going to synchronize their movement, I'm going to march them over here to Zlakazau while it's undefended. They could rail someone over here in a fucking instant, really. They could. But I'm only one area away from this, and so long as I have a lot of control in Tarnopol, I will be able to just rail my way back from Zlakzau. It will provide me some supplies, seeing as there's a depot here. I want to get a militia in here to make sure I hold it, but I still have to recruit some more militia. But I want to take Zlakzau and kind of cut off completely one line of rails that they have from Lemberg to use, while kind of trying to chase them off maybe from Rala Ruska if I can close in on this area of Busk. At least that's my idea. Down here in Chotin, I'm just going to stay on the offensive because I'm going to have to sit here and rebuild this rail line because the enemies, I guess, cut it before they ran away. Clearly they didn't stay because we didn't have a fight here, but they did cut the rail line, which is annoying, so I want to get that back up. And then we'll figure out what to do here. But this location, this region is kind of cut off, so I'm looking at maybe trying to claim this and hold this little border, because my rail can go through here, which would be nice. And this town would also be a nice boon as well. Now down in Serbia, I'm finally going to go on the assault and the offensive in Ivanjica to try to reclaim this depot from the Austrians nearby, who are starting to just move all throughout my countryside, annoyingly. Otherwise, everywhere else, we are just going to be playing very defensively. I mean, that's really all we can do, seeing as how we have the Austrians and Germans coming from the northwest, the Bulgarians pouring in from the east. We don't have enough troops to defend our land in Serbia, which is why I keep saying I'm pretty confident it's going to fall. And seeing as Greece joined on the side of the Western Entente instead of me, and now I can't control their troops, I have no way to really defend Serbia. Montenegro will probably end up being the last stand of Serbia, realistically, if there isn't some point in time where the country just collapses and automatically surrenders as a whole. So we can only hope that we can hold on for as long as is possible over here. So I've hit end turn, and starting it out, we already have another great battle here somehow. Another one-off division of enemies. This time an infantry division of some kind has wandered into Lodz all by itself and has been completely wiped out. We lost 256 men, 254 cavalry, but we killed 12,300 men, 192 cavalry, 36 guns. Thank you. And we have assaulted the depot. Battle of Depot. Wow, great. We have assaulted the depot over here at Ivanjica. Doesn't look like we've actually taken it over, but we went ahead and we assaulted it. Apparently it's a siege. Apparently they have walls around this thing, but we didn't wait for the walls to have any holes in them. We only lost about 3,000. We killed about 8,000. We didn't kill all of them, but it's a very successful attack, I would say. So that's good. Looks like the Ottoman units may have rendezvoused up together. Hopefully the battle there goes well. We have another battle here at Pultusk. I went on the offensive to try to hunt these guys down while they're here. They're super weak. Look at their strength compared to how much men they actually have. Oh, they're so weak. So you want to do a wave assault? I'll trust your judgment. Go ahead here. Alright, not the results I was hoping for, but we lost a little under 3,000 men. We killed over 5,000, which is really almost a third of their units. 32 cab dead, 6 guns, and we've chased them out of Pultusk, which is good. I've wanted an excuse to leave this area for the longest time. I don't know how these random German special units keep getting behind our lines and what they're even doing here, but that's a problem we keep having. The AI is just weird and not very consistent, is basically what I've figured out. So much movement in and around Western Poland. This is really where the enemies are moving a lot of their troops. This is part of why I wanted at one part to maybe go on an offensive over here, because it would cut off a lot of their movements. We already cut off a lot of their movements by holding on to Lodz and Kolo, but over in, well, west of Poland, in what's called on the map Western Prussia, there is a rail line that could be worth defending. Alright, so I was recruiting another militia unit over here in Pristina. This is one of the only places I could recruit in all of Serbia. The enemy brought a heavy artillery brigade and a cavalry brigade and just destroyed that militia, and they're going to take this city over. Nothing I can do, really. There's really nothing I can do about that. Pretty much all of southern Serbia is about to fall. I was hoping I could get one more militia out. I recruited a lot of militia and some special units last turn, a lot of bridging units, Pontoneers, that kind of thing, hoping that we could inject them into our forces to gain some bonuses on offensives as we cross rivers. Alright. We have a... Oh, man. So, I kind of suspected this would happen the moment I started moving my forces west instead of east. Every time I go on some kind of offensive here, the enemy just seems to know and just moves all their troops in my way. And here we have such an example. We lost an entire... This sucks. We lost an entire cavalry Cossack brigade here, which is really shitty, because where there were no units, there's now 162,000, meeting my force of 154,000. We lost over 18,000 men to the enemy's over 36,000 men. They lost 435 cavalry to our 1,305. We lost 6 guns, they lost 24. They also lost 3 tanks by the looks of it, and some vehicles. They lost no one permanently, so this cavalry loss is a bit of a pain in the ass. I should really recruit more cavalry, because I noticed the enemy doesn't really focus it too much, and it really does come in handy sometimes. And I could do with injecting more cavalry into my armies. I still have room to recruit more, that's for sure. I've just been limited by money when it comes to recruiting things. I've been focusing on really cheap things like militia and support units instead. It really sucks that they did this. I feel like they moved everyone that was in Rala Ruska and nearby it over east. At the very least, it may leave them open for an assault or movement around Rala Ruska. But we'll see. It was a Russian victory, I believe. So, hopefully it gives us some national morale points. Okay. This is not good. We have a Serbian defeat here. I had one kind of army sitting over here at Niš, fairly entrenched. What the hell? Why are there Ottomans over here? Fuck. The Ottoman Empire is invading Serbia. I didn't see that coming. Well, so yeah. They got completely fucking overwhelmed. I had 44,000 units. They brought 164,000. Naturally, they had to retreat after 2 rounds of combat. But luckily, the losses on each side were actually fairly even. But it's still a defeat. That's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. It's still a defeat. We can't do anything about this. The Central Powers are now focusing insane force, even from other fronts, onto Serbia. I really think it's a matter of time until Serbia falls, and that's a shame. Hopefully our front over on the Ottoman Empire with the Russians is at least doing better. I haven't seen a battle, despite the fact that we were moving over there. Yeah, we are here. So I wonder what the hell has happened over here then. If it just took us, it was supposed to take us 8 days. It's been 15 days and no battle. So what the hell happened there? So up in Eastern Prussia, we did successfully finally take Memel. The map is a clusterfuck of cards, so you can't see it. There's a lot of things you can't see, which is also going to slow down some of my plans, which I'll show you later. But we have taken Memel. Memel is taken. The city, the harbor, all of it is mine. So hopefully it should start to accumulate some supplies sometime soon, because the troops here are going to need supplies. The enemy that was here seems to have retreated into or towards Velau, or that, or he's still in the area. I don't know, but it'd be stupid to try to attack me. My troops arrived at Kauno, thank God. Look at this green bar. That indicates like their supplies doing terribly. Look at the food and water capacity here. So hopefully they'll get resupplied here, and hopefully soon too, because we're going to need to put them on the move again. This one unit that ran away is taking Tarragon from me. Not that it's very important, but super annoying that just one unit is enough to do something like that. Scrolling down here, we have Poltusk, where we're going to actually leave our troops because the rail line was cut, so we're going to repair the rail line and just defend the area for a turn. Holding our position at Lodz like we've always been doing. I've been recruiting some more support units. I'm finishing recruiting all my bridging units. I'm replacing that one Cossack cavalry unit because it's really the only one I can recruit of that type of unit anyway as well. We're taking all the troops pretty much, not the militia, right? Right. And we're marching them down from Kielce to Pink Zau, and I would like to secure this area. It has a railroad on it. Hopefully drive off whatever's here. Claim it, hopefully not have too much cohesion or supply issues as I set my sights on Krakow, or I don't know, because I certainly don't have enough troops to make an offensive. I do things with offensives in mind, but they have so many troops, I don't even know how to keep up with it. Going east now to Rawa Ruska, I'm taking the stack that's here and I'm sending them through the rail to Gorakov, and then they're going to walk a week to get to Lutsk, which has been under siege by this Austrian army for quite a while. That's pretty deep in our lands. So I'm going to arrive there next turn and hopefully put a stop to his plans. I believe... Do I have any of my units on the offensive? No, I do not. Okay, you're going on the offensive, sir. Because I want to attack the moment I get there, because we're going to outnumber and overpower him like crazy. And there's not a lot of enemies here, and they can't just rail their way into Rawa Ruska. They'll have to rail their way nearby and then walk the rest of the way. The rest of them went to Zlak-Zau, which we attacked last turn. We have taken the city and 95% of the surrounding area. Our troops here are battered, so they are going to be sitting here and resting, and hopefully not coming under attack again as the mixture of German and Austrian troops continue to overwhelm us. We still own Tarnopol, which is nice. I have a militia headed down to Tarnopol to try to garrison it, so you know this unit doesn't just walk in like, oh hey, free Tarnopol, because I have a depot here which I'm counting on to supply my units at Zlak-Zau, and I would hate to have to retreat now that I've pushed literally one region away from Lemberg on one front. Over here, we're just continuously getting overwhelmed as well, but I'm doing something a little ballsy. I'm taking this giant army stack, I'm putting them all on trains, and we are going down to Czernowitz, which is under attack by a very small force. Now, the small force isn't the big deal. It's this gigantic doom stack that's one tile away that if I do what I'm going to do, which is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to attack this army corps, I know that they're going to get involved in the fight. So that's going to be problematic, but hopefully we'll be able to just overpower them. Over here in the Ottomans is where I run into issues. Apparently the rail line here is cut. You can barely see it right there under the city. I didn't notice that. So I'm sending one of these groups back to repair it. I'm sending another one over rail to reach Ardan because a group of enemies has just arrived here somehow. We have another one showing up in the east, threatening this town, but I consider this town lost already, quite frankly. The other three of my units are just going to sit here and just hold position, entrench in these hills, which are likely to be fairly damn defensible. The time has come. Italy has joined the war. They are officially part of the Entente. Now, that doesn't mean that anything has happened yet. They've just joined. It will take till next turn in order for them to actually start doing anything. Hopefully, they fight really, really heavily. Speaking of heavily, I'd like to show you something. Over here, we can see that the Western Entente has actually lost 2 points of morale. The Central Powers has kind of held on to their morale, meaning something bad happened to the Western Entente. We can see at least their combat power has gone up as a result of Italy joining the war. The overall losses for the Western Entente has skyrocketed. They've gone up over 200,000. Looks like probably 250,000 in one turn. They just had a turn like we had 2 turns ago. The Central Powers losses has gone up, though, by the looks of it, somewhere around 300,000 combined with their fights on us and on the Western Entente's front. So something big happened here. And the VP gain of the Western Entente is also starting to even out with the Central Powers, which if it does that, they won't even need us to win the war at that rate. But of course, we need to make sure we keep going. We need to make sure this war wins, and we have to try to defy history and survive to see the end of it. That's my idea. Anyway, but something big clearly happened. I don't know what, but something big happened. The Central Powers land force rating actually went down a fair bit, even as compared to us. So that's a pretty big deal. Our morale's holding on at 102, so we're still a fair bit above these two bickering about their national morale. I don't know if this fell recently, but Bernina over here belongs to the Germans, but the rest of Switzerland is slowly being reclaimed. Freiburg once again belongs to the Germans. I saw something weird. I swear to God, it may have been last turn, but I saw that this had been taken, I guess by the Swiss or the French. Someone took this, but it looks like it's been reclaimed. I didn't point it out. I should have. Let's take a look at the French front as we conclude our episode here. Bescanon belongs to the French. A lot of rail lines being cut. Nancy still belongs to the French, so whatever assault was happening here has failed. The French are currently and actively besieging Metz. That's a big deal right there. They still are missing basically all of their border towns and these border forts, which is unfortunate. Means they haven't been able to reclaim any of that. Hopefully Italy's joining makes a big deal. But seeing as it barely actually really changed their overall power, it may not make the biggest change, but, you know, any change is truly welcome. Because if we take a look over here in Serbia, we can see we're just dealing with some problems. I'm moving some militia units around as I've gotten a cavalry unit over into this army, which is pretty much the sole defender of Zvornik, which is one of the Austrian entrances into Serbia and one of our only cities that have a depot, which makes it kind of valuable in my eyes, even if it's not that valuable overall. I still have this Uzis army sitting over here, which, I mean, it doesn't need to be here. It's not a really important area, but it connects with Zvornik and stops the enemies from rushing down through this road, which is the reason why I'm defending it. We did lose Oravita. The enemies took it and then crossed the river into our territory. And again, there's nothing I can do here, guys. This is all going to fall. I'm railing this now dying militia unit back into Velika, and it's going to try to recuperate. I'm sending it another militia unit to try to help it out. But it's going to get beat back as not only Bulgarians, but now the full might of the Ottomans are over here beating down into us. And unfortunately, again, there's nothing I can do. The Greeks aren't doing much better despite them having joined. Looks like the Bulgarians, maybe the Ottomans are helping them, I don't know, have not just pushed them out of two cities, but are now pushing into their territory. And it looks like the Greeks are just retreating. They must not have a whole lot of troops, which is really unfortunate. The sieging continues over here in the Ottoman Empire, but it's not enough of a distraction, turns out, to stop the Ottomans from literally going pre-World War I on our asses and invading Serbia. Again, we are really witnessing the end of Serbia here, and that makes me so sad. This island is now technically on our side, Rhodes. And that's pretty much it in terms of progress and anything as the war goes on. You know, it's so weird how much they're focusing on me. Maybe it's historically accurate, but it almost feels like player preference. I'm not sure. But with that, we have an end of an episode here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think we're witnessing the end of Serbia like I keep not shutting up about? Do you think somehow they're going to get out of this, even though this giant Ottoman force is here? Do you think our movements around with Russia are seeing any success? One of you commented to let me know that up to a certain point in the war, we were doing better than real-life Russia, at least. So that's good. Seems we won't defy history with Serbia in my eyes, but with Russia, that's certainly good. I mean, we're definitely defying history over here, going kind of on the offensive in the Ottomans, but they are kind of distracting us with these smaller forces. I don't know how long this will last. I may just need to end up pulling back for all I know. Hopefully that doesn't end up being the case, because I'd really love to make progress somewhere. It feels like the whole world is crashing down on me in this playthrough, but yeah, let me know in the comments below your answers to all those questions if you have any, and for now, I'll see you guys on the next one.